Completed in 1942 as Pawtucket Stadium, the ballpark, later known as McCoy, was initially something of a white elephant during its first few years. However, in 1946, the Pawtucket Slaters, a Class B Boston Braves affiliate of the New England League, began a 4-season stay. That same year, the stadium was also renamed in honor of former Pawtucket Mayor Thomas P. McCoy, who had championed for the stadium's construction and died only 1 year earlier. Following the Slaters' departure, it would be 16 years before professional baseball would return to McCoy with the Double-A Pawtucket Indians, an Eastern League affiliate of the Cleveland Indians. This team too ended up moving away, relocating to Waterbury, Connecticut after just 2 seasons. In 1969, the Pittsfield Red Sox of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, appeared at McCoy twice with 1 game in July and a doubleheader in August. Combined, the 2 events drew more than 10,000 fans, and following the end of the season, it was announced that the team would permanently relocate to McCoy, becoming the Pawtucket Red Sox, or PawSox, for the start of the 1970 season. In 1976, debt-laden owner Phil Anez threatened to move the team to New Jersey before selling to Marvin Adelson, who in turn threatened to move the team to Massachusetts. Just prior to the start of the 1977 season, the team was again sold to Canadian-born American businessman Ben Mondor, who owned the team all the way up until his death in 2010. Extensive renovations to McCoy in the late 1990s, funded entirely by Mondor and the team, increased capacity from just 6,000 to more than 10,000, adding a grass berm seating area next to the Sox bullpen and addressing the lack of handicapped accessibility. Mondor's love for the team and its fans was more than evident. He successfully championed for the team and the park, turning them around into what was widely considered to be one of the most fan- and family-friendly minor league teams and venues in the country by the early 2000s. Sadly, following Mondor's death, new team ownership threatened again to move the team to Massachusetts. By this time, though, the business of baseball had changed. Gone were the days of smaller, team-owned facilities. A new era of minor league baseball was coming, one where extravagant facilities financed by taxpayers rather than teams would dominate the landscape. With Rhode Island politicians unwilling to relent on financing, it should come as no surprise that ownership announced in late 2018 that the team would be moving to a new stadium in Worcester, Massachusetts for the start of the 2021 season. In addition to hosting the longest game in professional baseball, a 3-2 win over the Rochester Red Wings, which took 33 innings to resolve between April 18th, 19th, and June 23rd, 1981, the team also brought home 4 league championships in 1973, 1984, 2012, and 2014. The last 2 seasons of the Pawtucket Red Sox were bittersweet to say the least. With the unforeseen cancellation of the 2020 minor league season due to the global pandemic, Rhode Islanders never really got the chance to say goodbye. Although neither the players nor fans knew it at the time, the last PawSox game ever played at McCoy would be the final game of the team's 2019 season. A 5-4 victory over the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs in 10 innings on September 2nd, 2019. What came next was a series of disappointing starts and stops. Initially, there was hope of bringing in a new minor league team, but this became less and less likely as time passed. Things were different now, and McCoy's facilities were no longer up to the now extremely high expectations of minor league baseball. In November 2022, Pawtucket voters approved a $330 million bond to construct a new high school at the McCoy Stadium site. The new 482,000 square foot campus will replace the city's 2 existing high schools, accommodating 2,500 students. Demolition of the stadium is expected to be completed in early 2025, with construction of the new school to begin soon thereafter. In August of 2024, I was given the rare and unique opportunity to tour the stadium with the Pawtucket Department of Public Works as it was being stripped of its memorabilia for auction and otherwise prepared for demolition. Join me for one last look inside Rhode Island's first, and to date only minor league ballpark, and see what's left as the physical reminders of baseball in Pawtucket are about to yield to the wrecking ball and fade into history. I was fortunate to have my good friend Dave along with me, not only to assist with lugging my gear around the stadium, but also to toss a few pitches my way from the mound, and to share a bit about his own family's ties to McCoy and the personal memories he has here.
All right, so I know your dad was an usher here for something like 30 years, and then you also worked as an usher part-time yourself for the last 13 seasons that the Sox played here. What drove you to kind of follow in your dad's footsteps, if that was even motivation?
So it really wasn't about following his footsteps. I was introduced to it at a young age, and it just always seemed like a really cool job to have. I liked baseball, and the job I had, I'd work a couple innings, and I'd get to watch baseball for the rest of the night.
Now, the year that you were born was the PawSox second ever season playing here. With your dad working here too, I'm guessing that you definitely went to your share of games as a kid.
Yes.
Any particular memories, or your earliest memories?
Opening day was always a big deal for us. It was kind of a rebirth, a new season, new hopes. Usually they're dashed, but it was something to look forward to. Again, the exhibition game between the Boston Red Sox and the Pawtucket Red Sox that they used to do yearly. That was also a big deal for us.
As an usher for the first base suites, what would a typical game look like for you? Because I know it sounds like more of a jack of all trades thing from what you talk about it.
It was obviously showing the people the first base suites in their seats, but I used to do pregame stuff. I used to get people in line, get them set up in their orders that they'd go. We'd march them onto the field and we take them off. After the game started, I watched the gate, make sure nobody who wasn't supposed to get on the field got onto the field. I would do the in between innings stuff. I was with the grounds crew out. We would do in debt to a vet. We honor a different veteran from different wars or active duty service member as well. A lot of really nice guys, a lot of older guys who had served their country well. So it was nice to see them get honored.
Ever anything going on behind the scenes that people might find interesting? Stuff that they might not know about fans, in the stadium?
Probably the most interesting to me was it'd be my job to help get the major league ball players or people on a rehab assignment out of the ballpark and not be mobbed by fans or things of that, like try and get them into their cars and not have to get throws of fans, ask for autographs or pictures, and basically they didn't want to be bothered when the game was over, so we just tried to get them in and out as quickly as possible. For the most part, it was good. I mean, they just went about their business and they're polite and they went. We had a couple of not so good experiences with when he was here. He didn't like being interviewed by the media, didn't like the fans interaction. He just was a little ornery, and then we had to deal with that.
What do you think it is that makes McCoy or made McCoy so unique compared to other minor league stadiums?
I think it's the fan-friendly attitude, family-friendly, I should say, attitude. It's very affordable for a family to come. They could probably get out of this place with tickets included for $30 for a family of 4. I think another thing that was special as well is that the owners were very accessible. You'd find them walking through the stadium. A lot of people call them by their first name. Very accessible to people. Often you'd see them at the main entrance taking tickets with people. They didn't have an air about them. They were just one of the crowd.
For so long, I think it seemed like McCoy and the PawSox were just inseparable, right? As sure as the stadium was not going to just disappear overnight, the team wasn't going to disappear overnight.
Sure.
So it was almost unfathomable to me when they announced that they were moving. How did that make you feel when you heard the news?
I felt heartbroken when I knew they were leaving, first of all. It was also kind of bittersweet, the fact that 2019 was the last game, which I worked. And then, as we all know, the world came to an end and there was no 2020 season. So there was really no goodbye for the Pawtucket Red Sox fans to usher them out, or at least say their final goodbyes. It was just abrupt. It ended abruptly, and
that's kind of how I feel about it too. Like I definitely would have gone to a game the last season.
Sure.
If it had happened.
Yeah, if you
knew.
But
then to kind of have it pulled out from under you and say, well, sorry, you missed your opportunity. It was last year. That definitely sucked. I think it stung for a lot of people.
Sure. I mean, it hurt because I was out of a job. Number one, they offered to take me to Worcester with them, but it's just too far to travel on a daily basis. But it's just that the fact that they didn't get that final goodbye was really kind of stung.
Maybe this is not a fair question, but would you mourn the loss of more, the team or the stadium?
Stadium. Definitely the stadium.
Why?
It was just you get to see the same people over again. The people I worked with was like a family. I mean, 71 games were home games here, so we interact with the same people 71 times, see the same fans 71 times. You get to know a lot of them on a first name basis. I definitely miss that aspect more than I actually miss the game itself.
How do you feel about the stadium being torn down to make way for a high school? It's kind of two-pronged question there, right? It's seeing the stadium go, but the school.
Yeah.
Is it a good reason? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, I really can't come out against higher education. It's nice that they're doing something beneficial with the ballpark, but it's just there's so much history here. The longest game in history was here. It's just such a shame to see it end the way it did and to see it just deteriorate the way it has.
If you could preserve any one thing or aspect of the stadium, something that remains when the school's here, what do you think it would be?
I'd like to see them somehow preserve the fact that the longest game ever was here. I'd like to see them, whether it be, again, we talked about the home plate downstairs before, if they could bring that back here and I understand it's got folklore with the organization, so they're probably not willing to get rid of it, but it just would seem like this is fitting for it to be here, if they could.
I've been to a few other minor league parks, more modern facilities, and you could tell me I'm walking into an MLB game, and I'd have believed you. It's nothing like this. It's scaled up massively. It's just a completely different environment. So I think the era of this type of stadium and type of interaction with the fans is gone.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I agree. We talked about this before previously, but this stadium, it was probably inevitable it was going to close either way. I mean, they need to get a new stadium regardless, but there's just so much history here that it's just a shame to see it go the way it is.
Now, the big question, have you been to Polar Park since the move to see the PawSox?
I have not. It's not bitterness on my part, although that's part of it.
There is no ill will towards Rhode Island from our part. Maybe a little ill will towards some of the politicians.
I just haven't had the opportunity to go. I mean, I guess it's no different than the fans that came from Massachusetts down here, but I'm a typical Rhode Islander. If it's more than 10 minutes away, I'm probably not going to do it.
For me, it doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm being a traitor.
Sure.
Yeah. And I know that's ridiculous.
Sure.
And I'm sure I'll
I have those feelings as well. I would like to see it because I would like to see what could have been here. The shining example of what should have been in Rhode Island all along, but unfortunately it's not. But I will get there eventually, but I haven't had the opportunity.
It was great talking to you.
I think I probably said too much. Great talking to you too. Thank you.
Does have a better sound to it, though. That's it.
Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this walkthrough, then I hope you'll give the video a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. I have new videos out all the time covering an array of topics, including plenty more just like this one. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Unless you saw him grab it, you're like,
Yeah.